Now with those hands, I can't talk. Come on.
What you say? Don't be shy. Just feel it and feel free.
I know you came to have a good time.
I know you came to have a good time. Ha ha ha. We about to get loose. We about to do what we came to do. This lighting is looking crazy.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
What you say?
Don't be shy. And feel free. You know that's my favorite part, but I had to go ahead and stop it. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Today is the 4th day of November in the 2020th year. My name is William Bryant Miles, but you can call me WBM, which means you're watching what? The Wonderful World of WBM, live and in color, live and in color, live and in color. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I want to go. Oh. Nope, I want to go. Oh, live and in color. Yeah. Oh. Whatever that was, I don't know. I hope nobody sues me behind that because I don't know where that came from. It's from my mind. As I said, I'm WBM, and this is the Wonderful World of WBM Live. If you are in the United States, that means that you are sitting on the edge of your seat or perhaps being completely avoided as I was yesterday, waiting to see the results of our 2020 presidential election. If you're not in the United States, welcome all the same. You may have heard that, we're sitting here waiting to see how this is all going to shake out. I put on my revolution gear, nice little fake kente cloth moment. Because I'm just going to do a simple little balance face because it just needs to be simple and clean and ready to take the world by storm should we have to when it's all said and done. So, as for me in my house, I was raised to be a voter. This is not my first presidential election. It's actually my, 2004, 8, 12, 16, 20. It's my 5th presidential election. I saw some of my peers who were just a couple years younger than me. This was the first time that they were voting for a white man because the last one I voted, if you were a Democrat and you voted with the Democrat party lines, the last election was a white woman, and then the 2 before that were a black man. So for some people, this was the first time that they had to vote for a white man. Not so much for me. And, as for some people, a white man that you perhaps weren't particularly excited about. My first election, I believe, was, as I said, 2004. That was John Kerry. I was not super enthused about that. I really couldn't tell you his platform. I didn't think that I had the option of not voting, even though I guess we always have the option of not voting just because, it's not legally required that we vote. But yeah, so that was one thing I noticed. A lot of people who didn't, well, I don't know, a lot of people didn't vote. And to be quite honest, I don't know anybody who didn't vote, or at least who admitted that they haven't voted. And, it's funny because, there was a big push this go round. Well, let me come back to that. But so in the US, a lot of places, I know in New York for the first time, they had early voting, back in 2004, the first time I voted in a presidential election. The first time I voted in any election was 2002. But the first time I voted in a presidential election was 2004. And back then you couldn't vote early, you had to vote in person or absentee. But nowadays they had it set up so that you could vote early, meaning if for whatever reason yesterday didn't work with your life, there were ways in place for you to go and vote in person on in advance. And I actually think that's a good thing, right? Like I don't think that's a bad thing per se that people can vote early. What I do think is a bad thing is that like when people are like, what's your voting plan? Do you have a voting plan? I think that is, I'm not gonna say it's a bad thing, but like, when are we gonna have the conversation about how that's kind of problematic, right? Like, I think that the whole notion that like you have to have a plan to vote, that voting is this like cumbersome thing, I think just kind of flies in the face of democracy to a certain extent. No, like, shouldn't it just be real simple and easy? You show up, whenever, or you vote. Like, I mean, these days you could pay your taxes online, you can get food stamps, everything else that, you can register for health insurance, all these other things that are explicitly tied to you, get student loans, et cetera, et cetera. Why can't that stuff be digitized? And why does it have to be this whole thing? Like, I think that was just speaking to the fact that, disenfranchisement was a possibility. So, but we made it, at least to the polls. I made it to the polls. And right now we're sitting here girding our loins, waiting to see. I don't really have a game plan for this face. I don't have no makeup wipes either. So whatever happens, we just gonna have to rock it out. But waiting to see what is going to happen with the election. Last I checked before we got on air, it was looking very hopeful, but never say never, because 2016 showed us that like, Chile, anything can happen. But it was looking likely, or at least at a minute, I won't say likely, it was looking possible for Joe Biden to win, right? Which is a good thing, in my opinion. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was because of the early voting, people, and this is the thing, like in New York, you could vote early, and the first day of early voting, I saw people waiting in line for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours to vote, like waiting a whole 5 hours so that they could vote. And I think this may be unpopular, but I think people wanted to feel like it was difficult to vote. Like, I think people were excited about having to wait in line so they could say, like, I waited in line. I got the job done. It wasn't easy, but I got it done. Our ancestors died so that we could vote, which they absolutely did do. And I think that, like, we'd be foolish to not, or at least some of us would be foolish to not. But as for me, I was totally not about doing that. And I was like, if I must wait 5 hours, I will, if I must. But to me, must falls under the category of, okay, I'm voting on November 4th, right? Like the appointed day. The way they've reframed it is not election day. Now it's your last day to vote. It's like, if I must wait, these 8 hours, if I must wait 4 hours, 5 hours on November 4th, I was prepared to do that. But I'm not gonna, like, if I'm going early, why would I wait 5 hours? Why would I go early to wait 5 hours? Like, this just didn't make sense. You know what I mean? For me, but for y'all that did it, great. Just get it done. I walked into that polling place, Henny. I didn't even get a whole song off. It took me less than 5 minutes to vote. And for that, I am so grateful. It was easy peasy. I thank y'all for voting early. Took the pressure off my plate, and I was able to just scoop doop in and get the job done. So the other thing was, there was this big push, and I think some of us did ourselves a disservice. There was this big push of just like, vote, no matter what, you need to vote. And I think that, like, we should have maybe been a little clearer in our messaging, and we should have basically been like, Mint Bleak say, I showed up expecting a long line, but it was a 5-minute experience. Where were you at? That was the same. I guess we had the same experience. I was in Brooklyn, New York. But I think we did ourselves a disservice by just saying, like, no matter what, vote. Because I get it. Like, if you work for if you work for any kind of government organization, nonprofit organization, all of that stuff, I get why you may not have had a sharper point of view. But those of us who don't, you know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't have been vote or die. It should have been vote Biden or stay the fuck home. Like, I just felt like at that point, it's like, if I cannot convince you to vote for Joe Biden, this eyebrow looks crazy. If I cannot convince you to vote for Joe Biden, then stay home. And I actually want to give a shout out to Kanye West. I don't know if this has been, I haven't watched a whole lot of, I did my research to see like what was happening in the election, but I haven't been following a lot of the pundits. I was reading basically published articles and like the trackers on CNN and New York Times. So I don't know if pundits talked about this, but I feel like maybe Kanye West did us a gift, because I'm not convinced. Like, he got like 60,000 votes or something crazy like that. I'm not convinced, or I'm going to say the reverse, the affirmative. I believe that most of the people who would have voted for Kanye West, most of the people, if not all of the people who voted for Kanye West, I feel like if they had to vote for someone else, they probably would have voted for Trump. Like, I just think that they, either they have a bizarre politic, or problematic politic, or they just are like contrarian for the sake of contrary sake. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know what, Kanye, I'm actually kind of glad that you took, like, I don't think that those were Biden votes. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like Jill Stein, who some of those votes could have been for Hillary, which you know what I mean? I think that's that lady's name. This I felt like was very much like, y'all was gonna vote for Trump anyway. So yeah, we probably should have invested more, like get all the hood hoteps. Like, we maybe should have played that a little different, but we'll see what actually happens with this outcome. Because I know that there's a few states, a few very key states that are too close to call right now. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about with that, right, which is we need to have a moment about, is like, how unfortunate, how terrible to live in a country where someone like Donald Trump hopefully is going to lose, but by the hairs of his chinny chin chin. He's going to lose this election by whatever little hairspray is holding that thing together. And that is so fucking upsetting to me, because it means that when he loses, I'm going to claim victory. Victory is mine. Victory is mine. Victory today is mine. When he loses, there's still going to be all these people so many people. And I guess in the one way, it's good that we now know, what some of our lived experiences have already shown us, that like we live in this very fractured, racist country. And so now maybe some people will believe us more when we say it. But also, we live in this very fucking fractured, racist country, and these people are going to be emboldened. And then, not to mention that, like, once he is no longer president, he's a private citizen again. Oh my God, he's going to be insufferable. Like, all the fucking news shows he's going to be on, and like anybody who will listen, he's going to be talking about this. But I'm not going to get ahead of myself just yet. I'm just going to say, I hope that these votes get counted. And I have to be honest, Brooklyn disappointed me. Brooklyn, I mean, we know that there are some key communities here who are in support of him, but it was only like, I want to say like 65, 70% in Brooklyn. Like, I wanted an 80, 90, 100%, Joe Biden moment. And that was not what we were given. And that was very disappointing to me. What is this nose? What is this nose? What is this nose? I need to get a master class on just what the fuck I'm doing. But so we'll see what happens. I couldn't sleep last night. I couldn't sleep at night since you are on my mind. But we will mix on the radio. I couldn't sleep at all last night, even though I didn't watch. I made an active choice. I said, I'm not watching any of this stuff until this is stupid. I was like, I'm not watching any of this stuff until I wake up, and hopefully I'll wake up and, there'll be an answer. That was not the reality. I woke up and there was no answer, but you know what? No news is good news right now. Like, as long as it wasn't the opposite of what we're expecting. So we sit here, maybe by the time I close this computer and this experience is done, we'll have an answer. Maybe not. I decided I'm not gonna contour. I'm gonna just do a soft beat. This is gonna be the softest beat. I'm gonna throw this wig on, and then we just gonna talk. Does that work at y'all? I'm gonna do a real bussin' lip though. This lip is gonna be bussin'. And so yeah, that was my whole like election experience. And so the other question I've been wondering is like, it's a two-part question. So the first part is, I understand intellectually why election, like how you vote, is private in some jurisdictions because, you know, people are crazy. And if you live in an environment with like crazy ass Trump supporters or people, I'm not even gonna just only say Trump supporters, but people who, you know, you may have voted in the minority and people who voted in the majority or vice versa want to do you harm, perhaps it is better that way for you to be, you know, to be able to be private. And if you couldn't be private, people wouldn't. But then the other side of it is that like people be straight up lying. And when are we going to deal with that? That like people be straight up lying because who gonna check me, boo? You know what I mean? So people are straight up saying that they voted for somebody that they know good and damn well they didn't vote for just to go along, to get along in the conversation. And that needs to stop. That is not okay. I don't like it. And then, you know, and that's how we got what we got, or people lie and say like, oh yeah, girl, I'm gonna vote for, you know, Biden. And then we see that over half of the white women in America voted against their own fucking interests. And side note, apparently today, I didn't know this was like National Black Women's Day of being left alone. And so this crazy black lady told me that I couldn't say nothing to her today on Facebook and that I need to just go talk to the black men and the gay men who voted for Trump. And so what I had to say to her was, and I'll say to y'all, I don't know them. I don't know, or at least unless they lying, like the aforementioned, I don't know any black men who voted for Trump. I don't surround myself with those kinds of people. I don't know any gay men, black or otherwise, who voted for Trump. I don't surround myself with those kinds of people. So I don't know what to tell you. And like, let's also call a thing a thing. And this is the thing about being black in America, right? When you are black in America, it's so frustrating because we are judged by the least among us. We have to always be responsible for the worst black person. If somebody robs a bank, one black person rob a bank, all black people now gotta, you know, be responsible for that. Whereas white people don't have that burden. They don't have the burden of being responsible for every white person. When Timothy McVeigh went and did, he was a Unabomber, right? When he went and did that, or Dylan Roof went and did what he did, and you know, shot up that church and all that stuff. Every white person doesn't have to bear the weight of that. And I'm not saying that they should have to. I think that similarly, as a black person, we all should not have to bear the weight of every malfeasance or every, you know, misstep every time a black person acts incorrectly. And yet we do. So now, even though an overwhelming minority, and the numbers are still like ballots are still being counted, but even if we go with the numbers that exist right now, an overwhelming minority, the overwhelming majority of black men voted for Joe Biden, an overwhelming minority voted for Donald Trump. But now I gotta go have a conversation with black men about that. Like, what? Like, I just don't get it. And then I'm like, is anybody tracking the intersection of black gay men? Because that is distinctly different from, at least from gay men in general, lips busting. I think I'm gonna add a little glitter just because why not? You know what I mean? I just think that like we need to have a conversation with ourselves about that. Not ourselves, white people need to have that conversation. And what else wasn't a white lady? So people in general need to stop holding everybody accountable. And I'm very community minded, and I do believe that I am my brother's keeper, and we can be accountable to each other. I'm not saying we have to completely disregard accountability to each other and to like call things out when things are incorrect, but also, why are you holding me accountable for everything that was done wrong? You know what I mean? By a few bad apples. Speaking of apples, apple of the cheek. So that's that on that. But yeah, so can y'all stay friends with somebody who voted for Donald Trump? It's a no for me. And like, I'm not even being hyperbolic. If I were to find out a close friend did, it would be very rough. You know what I mean? I have a friend whose parents voted for Trump the first go round, and that was really hard for me to like you know, not judge them because I was like, is you on crack? Thankfully, allegedly, they got some sense this go round, but you know, the issue still remains. Why would I put blush on? What the fuck? What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? So, you know, maybe this will help get rid of that. I don't know, a little finishing powder. That I just don't understand how you can, you know what I mean? And to the people that didn't vote, or that were like, I don't like either one of the choices, bitch, me neither. Me fucking neither. But it's like a choice of like, you got to eat dirt or you got to eat shit, but you got to eat something. You know what I mean? Like if you eat dirt, there are some nutrients in dirt. You know what I mean? Like you might be able to make it an extra few steps. I mean, I fucked that whole analogy up. Do you want to eat dirt? Do you want to eat poison? Poison is definitely going to kill you. Dirt might kill you, but it also might help you live a little longer to get you to your next moment. And starving will also kill you slowly and painfully. So Donald Trump is poison. Joe Biden is dirt. What is you gonna do? So that's that. So I had these little glasses, which are very rock and roll, rocking you. David Levy, rocking you. But you know what I mean? I'm just like, we have to think about it more globally. So some other things. I'm done talking about the election. We 20 minutes in, and I don't want to be talking about this anymore. So Halloween just passed. For those of you who were there at the Halloween Zoom, thank you. It was so fun. If you saw my costume, I was Le Fouet de Clown, who was this really world famous clown, was killed on one of those crazy days when Halloween and the full moon aligned. He got shot right in the middle of the eyes. And so he died, and, you know, in the grave and stuff, his fillers started to eat up his face. So he had like some things in the bullet hole, of course. But every year when the full moon and Halloween align, he comes out the grave and the makeup is still intact. The beat is still intact. So that is what Le Fouet the Clown was doing on Halloween. But the karaoke was a lot of fun. We sang songs, karaoke. We had great conversation. It's not just singing songs. We had great conversation. We had a wonderful costume contest. We had, you know, the people were just two of the moment for me. We had the twins from Lovecraft Country. We had Lil Murda from P Valley. So if you haven't been watching your shows, you'd have been at the party. You know, I made up Le Fouet the Clown. So you would have been there like, what is going on? But if you were caught up on stuff, it would have been a lot of fun. We had a bee. Miranda Anderson was the bee. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. And it was a reprieve I didn't realize I needed until I had it. I mean, I guess I knew I needed it because I planned the damn party. But it was such a great reprieve from just all the fucking things going on in the world related to the election, which I ain't talking about no more. And just everything else. You know what I mean? Like, it's a daylight savings time came, and I didn't realize that shit was going to catch me out until I was going to meet up with a buddy to play tennis today. And then I was like, oh, wait, honey, sun goes down at 4:30, 4:45. Like, we're cooked. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. The sun comes up, I think about you. The coffee cup, I think about you. And then you saw the celebrities were out in full effect. Shout out to Quincy Combs playing with gender, doing a wonderful Frida Kahlo. To me, that was the costume of the year. Just slid that in and dropped it on us. I felt like this year Halloween just hit different because everybody was in the house, so they had nothing to do but, you know, get their costume together and do it for the gram. And then, of course, Lil Nas X. And I forgot who, was it Trappy Hour that said this? They were like, you know, I was worried Lil Nas X was going to give us the Frank Ocean treatment when he came out. But here he is giving us full ass gay boy. And I laughed because that's real. And some people will be in a bag about this. But, you know, one thing that grinds my gears sometimes is when people will be like, oh, there's more than one way to be gay. Yes, there is. And then one of those ways is to just be a big old sissy. You know what I mean? Or be a moderate sissy. That like being like stereotypes are rooted in truth. There are people who exist in those spaces. And I felt like we were slipping into a dangerous space where all the gay Black men in media, and Billy Porter, you definitely speaking up for that as well, the sissies. But it's like we get into a moment where a lot of the gay Black men, if not more, all or most of the gay Black men in media, were just giving you like this straight alignment that like, I'm gay because I suck dick and that's it. And it's great. That's great, right? Like that is ultimately what makes you gay. But just like being Black, what technically makes me Black is because my mom is Black, I have brown skin. But then there are all these other cultural things that come with it. There's food and music and dance and fashion and words and all these things that make up our cultural identity. So too is true for being gay. And so I'm excited to see, and I hope to see more gay Black men in the sphere who represent the fullness of a gay Black identity. I don't want to say the fullness of a gay Black identity, but who represent the fullness of gay Black identity centered in being Black and gay, and being unafraid to say that and whatever that is for them, you know, and there are many different ways. So I'm not challenging anyone's different ways for all the boys who can pass and the butch boys and butch realness and all that. Yes, but then also for the butch queens and the femme queens and the people who, depending on the day, give you a different flavor. Also, yes, you know, just so excited to see that existing in the mainstream and on the highest level and not just in the fringe. And not feeling like, oh, well, now that I'm famous and gay, I have to be I don't know if respectable is the word, because I don't think it's just, but yeah, it's, even though it's whatever the opposite of respectable is, it's not shameful. There we go, back with that word. It's not shameful to be effeminate, but I think that some people do not identify that way, but have created this false narrative that like, if you are a gay boy and you like gay things, especially if you're a Black gay boy and you like gay things, that's a problem. That there's something where like, why I just gotta be another one of those. And it's like, because that is what you are. That is who you are and how you are. So there you have it. Y'all, Jennifer Holiday started following me on Instagram. How funny is that? How exciting is that? Maybe she's watching this video right now. Welcome. Happy birthday to me. That video brought me great joy, Miss Holiday. I thank you for that. As has your music and all these things. So if you are watching, thank you. You're gonna love it. This found, just matted out with this. We got to work on the lighting in here. Who wants to give me lights and sets and stuff? So yeah. Also in line with Halloween, but not really, just Tabria Majors. I didn't know who she was before this. You may not have either. You still may not, but Tabria Majors is a plus size model who decided to do a tribute to Beyonce for Halloween. But she didn't say, I'm gonna just sit on YouTube and do bad makeup. She didn't say, I'm gonna sit on YouTube and do fabulous makeup. She didn't say, I'm gonna get on Instagram and do a fierce costume. She said, no, I'm gonna take the whole Beyonce canon, everything except for the Destiny's Child stuff, and all the different videos, all the iconic videos, and mash them up, dance full out, go to the sets, either ones that were identical or actual places that Beyonce was, get dancers, choreographers, get the best cameras, and just go full fucking out and turn it out. And Miss Thing did that. So shout out to you. I tip my hat to you, honey. I ain't got nothing bad to say about it. You did that, point blank, period. Also in line with Beyonce, she dropped some more stuff with, oh, that's what I was supposed to do before this hair. Let's put the hair back. Spoiler alert. She dropped some new, what's her shit called? Ivy Park. I have to be honest with y'all. I don't really love the Ivy Park stuff. Like, I just feel like if it wasn't La Beyonce, I don't think people would care. Personally, it's not really my aesthetic. Some of the stuff, I mean, there's a couple pieces in there, but I don't be crazy about it the way y'all be going off for it or going up for it. But it's here. Whatever, you know. It's here. I should have put some powder under my eye, so for when they have all this fallout, it could go away because it's glitter, but I didn't, so here we are. Yeah. Roland Ray, if you don't know who Roland Ray is, he is a, will we call him a personality. I don't know what we call him, but Beyonce sent him one and he going off about, see, I told you I knew her. And I'm like, I still am not convinced you know her. I just think you on the press list. Like, I don't think that, like, he showed the little note that Beyonce sent to everybody. See, I'm just glittering, glitz and glam. But I'm like, I'm not convinced that Beyonce knew who she was writing them notes to. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, okay, Ray, let me give you a little word. Keep it moving, toodaloo. This is very frustrating to me. This is part of why I love glitter, because it just gets everywhere. So I'm gonna be sparkling forever. And then you put the glasses on and it's like bling bling. Every time I come around your city, bling bling. So I told you I was giving y'all political revolution. I need to get a bigger wig head. This is the latest unit I made. This is made from scratch, made for me, by me. It was wrote by me and it was sung by me. Hair done, nails too, lashes on. That song is called Damn Bitch, My Feet Hurt. He showed up with no mask and an entourage at my part-time job at the mall the other day. What was it like? I wish this was another platform where I could like be like, we're gonna invite you in the call and tell us about your encounter with Roland Ray, no mask. But yeah, Roland Ray, if you haven't seen him, he was on Catfish, but then he also was on, I mean, his Catfish was funny. And this looks really good. I made this from scratch, by the way. When I say I made it, it means that this was just a cap and this was pack hair. And I went ahead and did it. I tried to do some styling to it earlier after doing it. But Roland Ray was also on Divorce Court if you want a good Kiki. Yeah, this is a vibe. This is a major vibe. I feel very much like I am on Hello Caller, you're on the air. That is from A Different World, if you didn't know. So yeah, there's that. That was when Freddie had her own show. But yeah, Roland Ray, a mess. I was gonna talk about Black Box, which was a movie on Amazon Prime Video. It stars Felicia Rashad and old dude from, she said, who is Roland Ray? His name is Rolling Ray. His name is Rolling Ray because he's in a wheelchair. And so he rolls around. He's in a motorized wheelchair and he rolls around, which shouldn't be comedy. Like, you know, this gets complicated too, because it's like, when can we laugh at stuff like that? Because him being in a wheelchair is funny, not because being in a wheelchair is inherently funny. It is absolutely not. And I don't know what his medical condition is that caused him to be in a wheelchair. It seems to be something he was born with. But it's funny because he just uses it to comedic effect. Like, first of all, his name is Roland Ray. And then like when he was on Divorce Court, he's literally rolling around the courtroom when you're supposed to be staying in place. And so, yeah, like Men Bleak said, he made rolling in a wheelchair as a bit. Like, so I feel like if you laughing at it, I'm gonna laugh at it. I remember, oh my gosh, there was this boy, I wonder what happened to him. Don't you hear when somebody's like, I wonder what happened to him? I heard he passed. So there's your answer. But I don't know if it's true though, because I'd heard someone else pass. This really happened. I'd heard someone else pass from when I was in middle school. I mourned the person. We were friends. I mourned them. And then I got a friend request from them like earlier this year. They were not dead. It was a lie. Whoever told me that was lying. And it was very uncomfortable because I didn't want to say to them, I thought you were dead. I cried for you. And so I just had to be like, hey, how are you? How have you been for the last 20 years of life when I thought you didn't make it? Parentheses, because I couldn't tell you that. So I don't know what actually happened, but there was this one boy when I was in junior high school. His name was Miles, like my last name. And he was in a wheelchair and he had like a medical condition. And he, like, for fun, we used to push him down the hall and like his wheelchair would crash into the wall. And that was fun for him because I guess it was like, you know, it's a ride. And it was fun for us because we like, wow, watch you fall into the wall. You know, he wasn't getting hurt. We weren't doing it to hurt him. He was our friend. But I'm just really proud of myself with this wig right now. But Yeah, and Miranda just said you thought they were dead for 20 years. Yes, I did. This was before Facebook, right? So you go to middle school with somebody, you know somebody in the 7th grade, someone tells you that they died, and or you hear, or somehow in your mind you convince yourself that like you heard that the person died. How else would I have known that they didn't? It wasn't like, oh, well, I can see they still post on Instagram. You know what I mean? And we didn't go to the same school. We met at like summer camp. So it wasn't even like we lived in the same neighborhood or anything. The only place that we would have connected was this once a year activity. And then I think that like I even aged out of the camp. So even, like it, yes, to answer your question, I thought they were dead and they weren't. They have like a fucking child and a wife and they're alive. I'm happy that they're not dead, but it was weird. And then I should I have said that I thought they were dead? Should I have mentioned that? I didn't. But should I have? I did not, though. I just let it ride. I just was like, wow, I haven't heard from you in a long time. It's so great to hear from you. I, didn't think we'd ever be able to communicate again. I'm really glad to hear from you. So yeah, that's what happened with that. I'm not, yeah. So that's that on that. Take all of me, just wanna be the girl you like. So I was gonna talk about Black Box, but then I realized it seems like nobody's seen that movie but me. I think y'all should go see it so that we could talk about it. It's like a thriller. Oh, but now let me leave this alone because it's starting to look a little PC. But yeah, this was made from scratch. Can't wait till my hair gets this long. I feel like I'm giving you... Hello, my name is William Bryant Miles, and you're listening to The Wonderful World of WBM. On today's episode, we're talking about the election, why it matters, who you should vote for, and who you shouldn't. And if you didn't vote, please log off right now. Thank you again. I'm WBM, and you're listening to Wonderful World of WBM. Did I sound like a real radio announcer? How did that sound, y'all? Give me a like. Live from Brooklyn, New York. Up next, we have a new song by a wonderful artist who goes by the name of Tamar Braxton. Tamar, I want to say to you, get the help you need. This actually is one of my topics for today. If you weren't watching, Tamar Braxton was on Tamron Hall. On Tamron Hall, she shared that she is doing well 3 months after her suicide attempt. She is out of her contract with WeTV, and they are using footage previously recorded for this season of Braxton Family Values. Tony, Tracy, Tawanda, Trina, and Miss E are still shooting the show in its 7th season. As the #1 rated show on WE Television. If you don't know, that is a low-rent cable network. Stands for Women's Entertainment. As the flagship channel as the flagship show on a bullshit channel, Braxton Family Values delves into the lives of a family of Black women who don't like each other, but are all dependent on each other so they can get a check. Tamar has said that she should not be on the show. However, she be on the show. So, my issue with Tamar, right, is that her being on Tamron was not insincere. Like, I don't think she's being insincere. I think she believes pretty much everything she was saying there, generally speaking. But I just feel like it's the same way I feel about Andrew Gillum. Y'all just need to take some fucking time. Like, you guys went through some really traumatic things, very different experiences, right? Like suicide and whatever the hell happened with Andrew Gillum. Very different, but very traumatic experiences. Y'all need to sit down somewhere and figure that out for yourself by yourself. And like, I think showing up, being like, it's like the person at a party, you go to a party, you drink too much, you start throwing up, and then you just like, oh, no, I'm good now. I feel better. It all came out. Bitch, the room is still spinning. Good and damn well the room is still spinning, but you have FOMO. And so you trying to either save face or dance around and stuff, but you smell like vomit. The room is still spinning and you're not having a good time when you really need to just go lay down. You're done for the night. The party is done. You're going to miss the rest of this party. Go to sleep. But I also get it. Tamar's trying to control the narrative. A big part of this, and she said that the impetus, in fact, for her leaving WeTV or wanting to leave WeTV was that she wanted to break free from she felt the contract was oppressive and she wanted to break free. And so I think that like when you sign contracts that you don't want to honor, you kind of have to make sure that you offer up a reason so that somebody else somewhere will want to enter into contract with you. So I think that she's just trying to do a little bit of damage control so that she would be employable elsewhere. That being said, I more than anything is like, sis, just get the help you need. Like I'm not gonna say I'm not your doctor, right? I hope you have a real clinician, like someone with like actual education and credentials and probably the ability to prescribe medication. But I hope that you are under their supervision. But I would think that it's like, take some time. Like you sat with Tamron and that was cute or whatever. And Tamron was on my nerves, by the way. I don't think I like that lady show, but it just was, it's just too soon. It's too soon. And then whoever over at the Braxton, whoever is doing your hair and makeup, I beg you to stop. I know it's a pandemic. I know it is hard, but I also know it's not that hard. This is a wig. I got on my own makeup. It is not that hard. It is hard, but it's not that hard. And y'all been in the game a long time. Tony Braxton, you out here looking crazy. You Tony Michelle Braxton, and you're out here looking crazy. Tracy, you always been looking crazy. I just think that that is what it is. Trina, I don't know what to tell you about how you look. I just want you out of my house. I don't know why you do that. And then Tawanda, it is, got to work with what we got. But like, woo Chile. So that's my thing on the Tamar. I was going to talk about something else. So speaking of Tamar, I was going to talk about bullets, but I'm scared because I said, I guess I already said it, so I'll say it again. Because La Fouille de Clown was shot in the face, I've been getting served ads for bulletproof vests. People on Instagram gun accounts are following me. And if y'all don't know, I'm very anti-gun. I know that they are legal in some jurisdictions in this country, and the Second Amendment of a constitution that did not recognize me as a person says that people can have guns. So I think that, like, I don't know why we hold it so fast to that. I don't believe in guns. I don't think that private citizens should have guns. I don't think that, like, people like it protects your family. Like, girl, like, I actually have never really heard a personal first person. I've heard recently a friend of mine was carjacked at gunpoint. I didn't hear that another friend, protected their home with a gun. Like I've always heard more horrible things happening from guns than helpful. So for me, it's like, that solves it. They gotta go. One gotta go, and it's the gun. You know what I mean? So that's that on that. But I've been getting served all kinds of ads now for them. Wrong person. I don't believe in guns. I didn't realize the bulletproof vest was so expensive. They started like $500 apparently for like the basic ones, but you can get ones that can withstand rifles and other assault weapons. And those, that's what I was actually served the ad for. And that one was about $2,000. So yeah, there's that. I'm really loving this hair. Y'all are going to see it again soon. Even though I'm seeing that there's a piece back here, but I'll fix that off camera. But I'm really loving this hair. I think I'm gonna do it in like 2 different colors because this is like a 4. No, this is a 2. This is a 2. This is a 2. I'm taking orders. Miranda, you want one? I can do another one of these. I know how to do it now. This is a 2. I'm thinking about maybe doing one in a 4. 1B is, I don't like, that's like black, and I don't like, I mean, well, 1 is black, but the 1B is, like regular black person hair. I got in trouble for saying that in college once. Like, her hair is like regular black person hair color. And Reggie was like, well, I'm looking at her hair is one color. I'm looking at his hair is another color. So I don't know what regular black person hair color is. And I was like, yes, you do. But yeah, so that's that. Also, I guess the bulletproof thing is just saying, be safe out here because the streets is real and it's only going to get crazier as this, we just live in a crazy, crazy time. Ayanla is back. She was with Shay, Bucky. I don't know her last name. She got some fine ass brothers, but her family's a mess. I recommend watching it. Ready to Love is back. I got to catch up on that. I want to do some more radio stuff though. Give me a topic to talk about. Last week. That's not right. Tonight on The Quiet Storm, we have a new song from Jasmine Sullivan. Hopefully it'll be a real song and not like that last thing she released. Miss Cleo. Hello, caller. No, that's call me now. This microphone is not good for the highs though. Jasmine Sullivan, I'm going to make an appeal for you to come out and do a record. We're ready, willing, waiting, and able for you, Jasmine Sullivan, diva with soul, diva with sass, diva with class, and a fat ass. I'm sorry, I had to do it. ASMR. Oh yeah, so ASMR. So can you guys hear me when I talk like this? I just want to thank you all for tuning into the wonderful world of WBM. This has been a really exciting, I want to call it an experiment, but I don't know if you can call something an experiment when you've been doing it for multiple years. It's been a lot of fun with you guys. It's always a new experience. And what I'm looking forward to more than anything is that we'll also be able to do other videos, ones that we've been working for. We're going to have costumes. As you saw, Lafouille the Clown was just one thing of many. The holidays are coming. Christmas. I saw that Home Depot is getting their Christmas trees up as soon as they come in. I'm going to get one. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to take the Christmas tree and put ornaments up. And with the ornaments, they're going to be all different kinds of colors. Reds and yellows and greens. Christmas time is here. So they really be doing a whole video like that, huh? People making lists, buying special gifts. Interview Mariah. I would, oh my gosh, if y'all can get me an interview with La Mariah Carey, Henny, when I tell you we would have a key. I have so many things to ask her that were not covered in the book. Just so many things just about like technical things that she can do with her voice, with the music, how songs are arranged, messy things. Like I want to talk about Kelly Price. You know what I mean? Like what's tea there? Is the Kelly Price we saw on Hollywood Diva is really her? Camp Mariah. For those of you that don't know, I am an alumnus of Camp Mariah. I want to talk about, that alone I think will be a fun interview. Want to talk about hair and like wind machine and lighting. You know, I got to get a new lighting budget, I think, just for her to come. Or maybe she brings the lights. I wonder if like when her lighting person comes, do they bring the lights or do they just come in and be like, okay, this doesn't work, Mariah's not going to come? Or like, you know, when she's doing like Watch What Happens, that's a full production as they just send over the list. Like we need these lights. I would just love to see how that all works and like all of the people, the whole show of it all. As Jamila said on her podcast, Jamila Lemieux, who's one of the hosts on Mom and Dad Are Fighting on Slate. And then she also has another show called The Kids Are Asleep, which you can watch online live. What she said is like Mariah knows how to be a diva. And I realized that like that's kind of lost on a lot of these young girls. Like they know how to be rich. They know how to buy a Birkin bag, which when are we going to be able to have a conversation about how fucking ugly a Birkin bag is? When are we going to be able to have a conversation? Like, to me, the fucking thing that drives me mad about the Birkin is that, like, there's so many status symbols, right? Like a G-Wagon is a status symbol, a Tesla is a status symbol, a big house on the hill is a status symbol. You know, there's so many different status symbols and there are different levels of status. But most of them, everything else I've named, I think that, like, a case can be made for their, like, why you either think they're beautiful or the car is it's really fast or it's really big or it's really indestructible. Birkins are fucking ugly. Like the literal only reason why people like them are because they are expensive and perceived to be exclusive. And the only reason why they're exclusive is because Hermes deliberately controls how they release them. Like there's nothing inherent. It is a well-made bag, but there's so many well-made bags on the market these days, and there's nothing that is like inherently unique about it. It's not like it's made from like, you know, from a flower or an animal that only puts out, you know, blooms once a year. Like the reason why alligator skin, for example, is so expensive is not just because alligators are rare. They're actually not that rare, or even, you know, it's because an alligator grows really slowly, and it also has to be kept away from all other alligators while it's growing so that it doesn't get any damages or any marks on the skin, because alligators like to fight, right? And so if an alligator gets into a fight with another alligator, it'll get a cut on the skin. It'll have a scar that makes the skin undesirable, makes your bag less pretty. So that's why an alligator, you know, things made out of alligator are expensive. And as big as an alligator is, the belly, which is the most desirable part for handbags, you can use the backs for shoes and belts, but the belly is what you need for a handbag. you don't get that much from one. So it's like there is some value in that skin just because the nature of how the skin is being produced. But say for a Birkin made an alligator, but like a calf skin Birkin, like just the basic one. Yes, they use exquisite skins, but so many brands use exquisite skins. Chloe uses very nice skins. Coach even uses really nice skins. It's like they literally are just like, I'm gonna make you think this is worth more because I'm only gonna dole them out one at a time. So it's like, imagine if you had a store that made really good cupcakes and they only sold one cupcake a day. But then you realize that like the cupcakes actually aren't even that good. They actually taste like flour, but they pretty. Like I feel like that is the thing with a Birkin, and it's this old lady bag. It is not like they be out here, you wearing a bathing suit, Cardi B, a bedazzled bathing suit, and then you got this big ass fucking briefcase. I just don't get it. But it's like, oh, I guess it's the status of having a Birkin. I guess. And before you ask, I do not have one. I have seen real ones in person. If you didn't know, Father sold to kings and queens, honey. I even if it's not in my own collection, a lot of the things I'm talking about are from my own experience with the actual items, touching, feeling, tasting, and seeing them. Admiring some of it, but also hating a lot of it. So yeah, it is the fucking worst. Beyonce Beaches. Jason said like Magnolia. Yeah, but exactly. I don't like bread pudding, but Magnolia makes this one cookie that is really, really good. It's the brown sugar cookie that they make is really, really good. And I haven't had anything like it somewhere else. It's obviously a very simple, straightforward thing. It's a sugar cookie, but they use brown sugar, and that just adds a whole other dimension to it. So I do, and they sell more than one a fucking day. Like obviously there's a limited, and I mean, everything I think is going to have a limited output. You know what I mean? And most things, that's why there's waiting lists. It's the same thing. This actually is what Teflar did. Teflar took the playbook of Birkin and just mapped it onto their little plastic bags. And then y'all have to stop. We talked about this before. I won't get tired of saying it. Y'all got to stop calling pleather vegan leather when you're not environmentally conscious or like animal rights centered brand. So it's one thing, I think, for Stella McCartney to call her products vegan leather, because the whole premise of her brand is that it is a vegan brand and that they are like for animals, and they pioneered fabrics that can have the look and feel and durability of leather without having to kill an animal. Like, you know what I mean? It's another thing if your bag is just pleather, and so now you're like, oh, this is vegan leather. Like, yes, grocery bags are vegan. That's a vegan. I have a vegan. I'm gonna put some people used to racistly call it Chinese luggage, which is very offensive to call plastic bags that, but and incorrect. And so now you can call it vegan. Like, would you like paper or vegan? Oh wait, the paper is vegan too. So all these fucking bags are vegan. Would you like a vegan disposable tote? I'm about to market that. Actually, we're about to have Wonderful World of WBM vegan totes, and they're going to look like this. And we're going to have vegan totes for you guys. This week on Wonderful World of WBM, we unload the new vegan totes, available in a multi-pack. Buy 2, get 1 for the price of 3. How about that? Cash me outside. So yes. But I don't like bread pudding. Ugh. Who wants wet cookies? I also don't do milk, but like and I like dough. Like I love peach cobbler because of the dough of it all. But the holidays are coming. Miss me with the bread pudding. If the bread pudding is all you have to offer, what is this little piece? Ooh, I don't like this piece. She's got to go. It's so much more fun when you don't grow it. You're not sentimental about it at all. You know what I mean? Banana pudding is just not for me. It's a no for me, dog. Yeah, so that's what I got. The holidays are coming. Don't turn your holiday situation into a corona super spreader event. Don't be Cynthia Nixon. Think about more than just this one moment in time. Think about it this way. Do you want to have one Thanksgiving? Do you want to have Thanksgiving or the Last Supper? Because y'all out here turning these super spreader events might be the last meal you or somebody at the table has. So just ask yourself, what is most important to me? And with that, I think that we're done here. I don't know. I could just stay here. I could hold you close forever. ever and never let you go. If you say my eyes are beautiful, it's because I just love you so. In sad news, Angel Unique was a trans woman. I believe she's the 31st trans woman killed this year in the United States, or that's just 31 too many. Or whatever the actual number is. It's out of control. We just need to stop killing people, especially our trans sisters, trans brothers. It's just not cool. As I said, a friend of mine was carjacked. My friend was not trans, but and the carjacking was not racially motivated. But it's like we just have to be out here, like, make a different choice, folk. Like, listen, I'm talking about the people committing the crimes now, not the victims. Make a different choice, please. Life is, we need all the people well. That's all I got now before we go down to a deep, dark rabbit hole. Banana pudding's gross. So what we learned today, summarizing today's episode, if you didn't vote, perhaps we're grateful because every vote is not the right vote. Tamar Braxton, go home, get well, stay there, and then return. Ayama Fix My Life is back. Banana pudding is gross. This wig made its world premiere. I think that's all I got. That's all I got. My name is William Bryant Miles. You've been watching The Wonderful World of WBM Live. You can catch me every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, that's that on that. We're going to play a little tune, maybe, maybe not. Did we get it cleared? We got it cleared because we own this song. And so that's that on that. Thank you all for tuning in. Catch you if you missed the episodes. They're all live. Well, they're not live, but they're all up somewhere one day. One of these days we'll put links. Yeah, enjoy. Tell a friend. That's that on that. And remember, choose joy. Now move. Thank you. Now move. Thank you for tuning in. You guys were great. Bye.